ورحمة للمحسنين الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم بالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون ومن الناس من يشتري لهو الحديث ليضل عن سبيل الله بغير علم ويتخذها هزوا
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
زيارة عاشوراء. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا خيرة الله وابن خيرته، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوسين، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور، السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله، لقد عزمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات، فلعن الله أمة أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت، ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها، ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم، ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشيائهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله، إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان، ولعن الله بني أمية قاتبا، ولعن الله ابن مرجانا، ولعن الله عمر بن سعد، ولعن الله شمرا، ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتالك. بأبي أنت وأمي لقد عزم مصابي بك، فأسأل الله الذي يكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب ثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيحا بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله، إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن قاتلك ونسب لك الحار، وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم. وأبرو إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانه وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشيائكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم، وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحق، وبالبراءة من أشيائهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي يكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة. وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب ثاري مع إمام حدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم وبشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته، مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد، ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الأكباد، اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة عبد العابدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعن منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايأت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. ولا جعل الله آخر الأهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خس أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني وابدأ به أولا ثم العن الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم العن يزيد خامسا والعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانا وعمر بن سعد وشمرا وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. سجود. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مسابهم. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيته. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام.
ألف لام ميم. تلك آيات الكتاب الحكيم هدى ورحمة للمحسنين الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم بالآخرة هم يوقنون. أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. ومن الناس من يشتري لهو الحديث ليضل عن سبيل الله بغير علم ويتخذها هزوا. أولئك لهم عذاب مهين. وإذا تتلى عليه آياتنا ولى مستكبرا كأن لم يسمعها كأن في أذنيه وقرا فبشره بعذاب أليم. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم جنات النعيم خالدين فيها وعد الله حقا وهو العزيز الحكيم. خلق السماوات بغير عمد ترونها وألقى في الأرض رواسي أن تميد بكم وبث فيها من كل دابة وأنزلنا من السماء ماء وأنبتنا فيها من كل زوج كريم. هذا خلق الله فأروني ماذا خلق الذين من دونه بل الظالمون في ضلال مبين. ولقد آتينا لقمان الحكمة أن اشكر لله ومن يشكر فإنما يشكر لنفسه ومن كفر فإن الله غني حميد. وإذ قال لقمان لابنه وهو يعظه يا بني لا تشرك بالله إن الشرك لظلم عظيم. ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حملته أمه وهنا على وهن وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير. وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا واتبع سبيل من أناب إلي ثم إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما
نعره رسالت نعره حیدری.
استغفرك اللهم ربي واسألك التوبة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلوات وأتم التسليم على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا سيدنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. عظم الله أجوركم وتقبل الله عزاءكم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your mourning and your a'mal in these sacred nights. All of us being inspired by the message of Karbala and remembering the tragedy of Ashura, and hopefully being able to draw lessons from everything that we have picked up on and learnt and been reminded of. The last thing that I spoke about last night was the Hussaini uprising and the Mahdawi uprising having many similarities, and the sad event of always trying to derail the concept of Mahdawism by bringing about confusion within the wider Muslim Ummah. And I gave the example of Muhammad al-Nafs al-Zakiyya, who was the son of Abdullah, the son of Hassan al-Muthanna, the son of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam. Muhammad al-Nafs al-Zakiyya, of course, was a righteous person, a pious person. He was martyred. He led an uprising as well. He was martyred. And the way that they manipulated this was in adding something that the Holy Prophet ﷺ had not said. He, in reference to Imam al-Mahdi, he did say ismuhu ismi, but he did not say ismu abihi ismu abi. His name is my name, but he didn't say his father's name is my father's name. Abdullah al-Kamil, he was called al-Kamil because he was very much in resemblance of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Of course, Hassan al-Muthanna was a tabi'i, and in the case of the claim that Muhammad al-Nafs al-Zakiyya, who was born in the year 100 after Hijrah, in the case of him being the Mahdi, that of course is going to be completely rejected even at that time, because first of all, he was killed. Second of all, he did not cover the world with peace and justice, which is what the promised Mahdi is going to do. So that was wrong. Again, when we revisit these important concepts, the reason why we're doing that is to make sure that we understand that there are going to be these claimants around all the time. They were around even during the time of A'immatu Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. You have people who claim to be a prophet like Musaylama al-Kadhab. You have people to have claimed to be imams. You have people who have claimed to be the Mahdi. Hundreds of them, literally hundreds of them. And this is where we understand that the more alert and aware you are of these kind of scenarios, the less likelihood you will be brainwashed or influenced in falling into one of these cults. And believe me when I say this, that I've come across many good religious people who, unfortunately, due to their emotional attachment to a lot of these cases, were negatively influenced and went down the very wrong path. So that's why, as I explained last night, we don't have any immunity in being misguided, which is why it is so important for us to visit and revisit each and every time and opportunity that we have. A human being is prone to forgetting, prone to misunderstanding, prone to also not having the adequate knowledge as well. This is why we always say, وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. Ya Allah, increase me in my knowledge that I have. Thank you, Sayyid. Thank you very much. Increase me in the level of knowledge that I have. And always for us to look out for more information and making sure that we are well informed of what it is that we do. But not only well informed, but also where we get the information from. The Quran says, فَلْيَنظُرْ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ. Look, he should look at his food. Here the tafsir for that was given by Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says it means that you should look at the knowledge and who you take your knowledge from. And who you take your knowledge from. فَلْيَنظُرْ إِلَىٰ عِلْمِهِ وَمِمَّنْ يَأْخُذُهُ. Look at the knowledge and who you take the knowledge from. Here, when we address the first similarity, common similarity between the Husseini uprising and the Mahdawi uprising, I'd now like to go on to the second similarity between these two valuable uprisings. And that is that with the reappearance of Sahibul Asri wal Zaman, Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajuhu Sharif, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, his slogan will be Ya Latharat al-Hussein. What does Ya Latharat al-Hussein mean? Thar means vengeance. Thar means vengeance. Now in Arabic, there is a difference between thar and intiqam. There's a difference between vengeance and revenge. Maybe it might not be that much of a difference in the English language, but in the Arabic language, intiqam, revenge, is not a positive, good thing. It's not something that denotes you wanting to pursue haqq. You might want to extract revenge on someone even though you might be the wrong person. You might be in batil. It is not a matter of you wanting some kind of retribution for you being wrongfully treated. Whereas tha'ar, vengeance, or tha'ar in Arabic, is you wanting a type of retribution that is rightfully yours. That is rightfully yours. So therefore, every type of tha'ar is intiqam and revenge, but not every revenge is going to be tha'ar and vengeance, because it might not be something that is going to be rightfully yours. Let me share this hadith from Imam al-Ridha, and this is something that one of the brothers recited in one of the nights in a ma'tam. And this is a very nice hadith that is usually mentioned during the nights of Muharram in his interaction with Al-Rayyan ibn Shabib, one of the companions of Imam al-Ridha salamullahi alayh, where he had an interaction with him about asking him about the tragedy of Karbala and about what should be done with as far as mourning for Imam Hussain alayhi salam and everything of that sort. Remember point number 2 and the slogan of Ya Latharat al-Hussein. That's what I'm talking about. Here, and I'm going to read not only that part, I'm going to read the whole segment because all of it is of benefit for us, reminding us of the value of aza and mourning for Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Yabna Shabib, in kunta bakiyan li shay'in, O Ibn Shabib, if you wish to weep and cry over anything, fabki lil Hussain ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, then cry over al-Hussain, فإنه ذبح كما يذبح الكبش, because he was slaughtered the way a lamb is slaughtered. وقتل معه من أهل بيته 18 رجلا, and 18 men from his household were massacred as well. ما لهم في الأرض شبيهون, they have no one similar to them on all of this earth. These 18 people, no one is like them on this earth. He was the only living grandson of the Holy Prophet. No one similar to them on this earth. وَلَقَدْ بَكَتْ السَّمَاوَاتُ السَّبْعُ وَالْأَرَضُونَ لِقَتْلِهِ, the 7 heavens and the earth wept over his killing. وَلَقَدْ نَزَلَ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ مِنَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ 4,000 لِنَصْرِهِ, and 4,000 angels descended down to the earth to support him. فَوَجَدُوهُ قَدْ قُتِلْ, and they found that he was slaughtered. فَهُمْ عِنْدَ قَبْرِهِ, they have since stayed at his grave. شُعْثٌ غُبْرٌ, and the way they are is that they have wrinkled hair covered with dust. شُعْثٌ غُبْرٌ إلى أن يقوم القائم, until the riser rises, until the قائم rises. And then فَيَكُونُونَ مِنْ أَنصَارِهِ, and then these 4,000 angels will be among his supporters. وَشِعَارُهُمْ, and their slogan will be يَا لَثَارَاتْ الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ, oh, those who seek vengeance for the blood of Imam Hussain salamullahi alayhi. So, from this and many narrations, we can understand that Imam al-Mahdi will come and seek vengeance for those who committed those atrocities against the members of Ahlul Bayt alayhum as-salam. How is Imam al-Mahdi going to extract revenge on people who have nothing to do with it? Why am I asking this question? Because some Sunnis get triggered by the notion of Imam al-Mahdi reappearing, or by remembering of the tragedy of Karbala, assuming that all of this is directed at the Sunni society as a whole, and that Imam al-Mahdi will be killing all the Sunni Muslims. Here, me and you clearly know and understand that that is not going to be in any way fair or just, where someone who might not be a Shi'i, might not be a 12 Shi'i, might not have that level of devotion to the 12 Imams or submit to them as their Imams, but loves Imam Hussain, loves Ahlul Bayt, even love the Imams as well. Why would they be the target of Imam al-Mahdi? Would that in any way be fair? Especially if we are saying that Imam al-Mahdi is going to be coming to fill the world with justice and peace. The simple answer to that is, when we look at the very ahadith that we have from Ahlul Bayt alayhum as-salam, all of them explain that this is all a matter of dealing with those who, number one, were involved in the massacre, number two, supported the massacre as well. And that's why we say, فَرَضِيَتْ بِذَلِكَ, فَرَضِيَتْ بِهِ, right? Those who were involved and those who supported it. Now, you might have those who supported it at that time, and you also have those who support it at this time as well. It might come to a surprise to me and you. How can someone be on Yazid's side? But as I've shown in previous nights, there are many, unfortunately, who have been very vocal in their condemnation of Imam Hussain and their support of Yazid. And they said that Imam Hussain was definitely wrong and we support Yazid. Many have even had this clear statement uttered by their mouths themselves when asked, if you were there at the time of Karbala, which side would you have been on? And they clearly, confidently, happily said, on the side of Umar ibn Sa'd and Yazid. That's the kind of person who most definitely will be targeted by Imam al-Mahdi should he reappear and seek vengeance on those who killed Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Of course, all of the opportunities are going to be there for everyone on this earth, but the wrong way of how we approach the topic of the end of time and the reappearance of Sahibul Asri wa Zaman is that it's a matter of fighting, it's a matter of battles, it's a matter of war. That is not going to be the overall atmosphere of the government of Imam al-Mahdi. It's not going to be a bloodthirsty government where all they want to do is kill those who oppose Imam al-Mahdi. That's definitely not the case, and that is not how we in any way should see our Imam. If you opposed Imam Hussein's uprising and you were happy and you are happy that he was killed, then you would be on that side that Imam al-Mahdi is going to be targeting. Otherwise, of course, if you opposed that, otherwise, if you were on that side of being happy and wanting that, otherwise, if you oppose that, then you're going to be on Imam al-Mahdi's side. It is clearly obvious for anyone to understand that when we look at the being pleased with the acts of other people, what kind of consequence there's going to be. Because you know the hadith that says, "Man radiya bi'amali qawmin ashrakahum fih or ushrika fih, man radiya or man ahabba amala qawmin hushira ma'ahum." Those who love or like or are pleased with the acts of a group of people will be resurrected with them, or will be partners, considered as partners with them. And that's why, my brothers and sisters, we have to always be careful that we don't sympathize with any type of tyranny or wrongdoing, whether that be on the level of oppression and dhulm, or whether that be on the level of immorality and ethical wrongness according to our standards as people of faith. This is where we need to be very cautious. Sometimes, consciously or subconsciously, we are pleased or we become very passive towards certain things around us, and hence, as a result, we desensitize ourselves towards the severity of what that thing is and how bad it is. If you hate those who were responsible for the death of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, then of course you're going to be free and there won't be anything for you to be concerned about, and you are not referred to in the slogan of Ya Latharat al-Hussein. So this is going to be the Imam's slogan. And this is where we can understand, on this second point, the connection and the relation between the uprising of Imam Hussain and the uprising of Imam al-Mahdi. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A third point of similarity, of common similarity between the two uprisings, between the two revolutions, is reform. Demanding reform, wanting change in the society. And when you look at the coming of Imam al-Mahdi and the ahadith that speak about the coming of Imam al-Mahdi, you can see that it is all about reform as well. It's all about change as well. However, there is here a difference, and that is that the scope of change for Imam Hussain alayhi salam was limited to the Muslim Ummah. The scope of change for Imam al-Hujjah is universal, covering the whole earth. That is the difference as far as the vision of reform is concerned. only in its limits in being to the Muslim Ummah, or in the case of Imam al-Mahdi, universally encompassing the whole earth. To stop corruption, that's what Imam Hussain wanted. To stop tyranny, that's what Imam Hussain wanted. To stop evil, that's what Imam Hussain wanted. To stop oppression, that's what Imam Hussain wanted. And that is also the direction of how Imam al-Mahdi will be doing. The difference is in the scope, and also the difference is that Imam al-Mahdi will be using the flag and slogan and teachings and outlook of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. This is why when you look at demanding of reform, it's not only a matter of you forcing things onto other people. And the approach is also not only going to be an approach of violence as well. When we look at the ahadith that describe Imam al-Mahdi's reappearance, you all know the hadith where it says that he will يَمْلَأُ الْأَرْضَ قِسْطًا وَعَدْلًا بَعْدَمَا مُلِئَتْ ظُلْمًا وَجَوْرًا. That Imam al-Mahdi will fill the world with justice and with fairness. Ba'dama means after it has been filled with oppression and tyranny. However, when we look at the ahadith that mention this text, that mention these wordings, there are many chains for this hadith. There are more ahadith that mention the word kama instead of mentioning the word ba'dama, which means that it says يَمْلَأُ الْأَرْضَ قِسْطًا وَعَدْلًا كَمَا مُلِئَتْ ظُلْمًا وَجَوْرًا. In the Arabic meaning of kama, which is different to ba'dama, kama means as it has been filled with oppression and tyranny, not after it has been filled with oppression and tyranny. What's the difference here? And why do most of our ulama prefer the kama instead of the ba'dama? Is everyone following me, inshallah? The reason here is because with the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi, the smallest side of his revolution and uprising will be military work, will be what we can call violence and fighting and battling. Most of it will not be that. You've all come across the hadith of God dividing knowledge into 27 parts. One hadith says 2 of them were given to all the prophets and 25 has been saved for Imam al-Mahdi. Many ahadith that speak about a small portion of knowledge, of files of knowledge being given to the prophets and the imams, and the larger portion of knowledge being given to Imam al-Mahdi. My question to you is, when it comes to tyranny and oppression, is it all about violence and war in today's society? Or are there other means of how people are being oppressed? There are definitely other ways of how people are being oppressed. One way is through social media and propaganda control, isn't there? Isn't there? That in social media and in the media propaganda, mainstream media propaganda against Muslims and against Islam, against the weak, against the oppressed, it has become a very active tool to create that level of oppression, or to instill that oppression and tyranny against the Mazlumin. Psychological warfare at times is even more damaging. Character assassination is even more damaging rather than the assassination of the person himself. But you can also use the good side, the positive side. You can use propaganda in the positive way, like explosive media. Who's heard of explosive media? The Lego, AI Lego clips that are being made. You've heard of them? You've seen them? And how good and useful that is in the positive way. With Imam al-Mahdi, that will also be the case in his universal reform message. It's not going to be a matter of, hey, start praying and doing this and doing that, or else we're going to chop off your neck and things like that. That's Daesh. Imams alayhim salam were never like that. Our beloved Imam is never like that. And our understanding of how the Imam is going to be is also very, very important for us. The way we imagine our Imam to be is very, very important for all of us. Technology and many other tools are going to be used by our Imam to bring about that universal reform and justice and peace. And that's also the message of Imam Hussain. Was Imam Hussein's movement, was his uprising a military uprising? No. Again, I think last night we mentioned this, or the night before. How on earth would he even want to be bringing his wives and children and women and children and elderly men if his plan was a military uprising? It was not a military uprising. It was never a military uprising. It was a humanitarian uprising. It was an uprising, as I've mentioned a few times before, in awakening the hearts and souls and mind of the people. A humanitarian uprising. And that's why in that type of uprising, the objective and the goal is not to stay alive. The objective and the goal is for there to be reform, even if it means that he loses his life. The same is the case of Imam al-Mahdi and his uprising. Here, in the third point, we can understand that the objective and the goal between Imam Hussein's uprising and Imam al-Mahdi's uprising is also exactly the same. Spreading of justice and making sure that the world realizes and understands that there is a voice for the oppressed, that there is a stance against the oppressor, which is what Imam Hussain wanted. Imam Hussain wanted to be the voice for the oppressed. He wanted to be the stance against the zalim, against the oppressor. And that is also going to be the message and objective of Imam al-Hujjah. Ajjalallah ta'ala farajuh sharif. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The fourth difference is in regards to the quality of the companions and the supporters. Imam Hussain alayhi salam had unique companions, very special supporters, very special companions, and they, of course, were praised by Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain said, I have never seen companions as loyal as my companions. They have reached a rank where every time we say salam to Imam Hussain, we also say salam to the companions of Imam Hussain. We don't do that with any of the other ma'sumin alayhimus salam. Whenever we say salam to our Imam, we also say salam to the companions. The companions were buried right next to Imam Hussain as well. Companionship, of course, means that you are going to be there, alive, with him, in support of him. Our understanding of ashab and sahaba is different to the Sunni understanding of ashab and sahaba. I don't need to get into that. But here, suhbah means that you need to be alive and you need to be with the Imam. In the case of Imam al-Hujjah, he will have ansar. He will not have ashab. He will have ansar. Ansar means the supporters, the devotees. Yes, he will have the 313 commanders, and they're going to be, of course, playing their major role. Some of them will be women. The 313 are not all, we can say, ulama or, ultra educated people. No. 313, they are going to be the commanders of the Imam, bless you. But then we're going to have the ansar of Imam al-Hujjah, the a'wan, the helpers of Imam al-Hujjah, the soldiers of Imam al-Hujjah. وَجَعَلَنَا مِنْ أَنصَارِهِ وَأَعْوَانِهِ وَمِنْ شِيعَتِهِ وَمِنْ مُحِبِّيهِ وَمِنَ الْمُسْتَشْهِدِينَ بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ, as we always say, isn't it? This is why, in the case of the Ansar, the companions of Imam Hussain, and the companions or the Ansar of Imam al-Hujjah, they meet in many general similarities. In the case of the companions of Imam Hussain, one of the things that they were very much known by was their spiritual and their ibadah aspects. How spiritual they were and how devoted they were to ibadah and worshipping. So much so that on the night of Ashura, it was said that lahum dhawiyun kadhawiyil nahl. They had a humming sound the way bees make a humming sound through their reciting of Quran and through their praying. And this is also the case of the Ansar of Imam al-Hujjah. Let me read this hadith from Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam al-Sadiq, Imam al-Baqir salamullahi alayhi, in describing the companions of Al-Qa'im Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu al-Sharif. This is what he says. كَأَنِّي أَنظُرُ إِلَى الْقَائِمِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. It is as if I can see the riser, the Qa'im alayhi salam, wa ashabuhu, and his companions, fi Najaf al-Kufa, in al-Kufa. Remember when I said that that's going to be his capital and his headquarters, Kufa. كَأَنَّ عَلَى رُؤُوسِهِمُ الطَّيْرِ. Here, this is an Arabic expression. عَلَى رُؤُوسِهِمُ الطَّيْرِ in Arabic basically means that if you had a bird on your head, right, you would stand very, very still in absolute stillness and silence. this is an expression that's used that when someone gives you their absolute attention, in Arabic they say كأن على رؤوسهم الطير. It is as if there is a bird on his head. No movement, no fidgeting, no going up and down. That's why there's some people here, not going to mention names, his name starts with M. It's like 20 times he comes in and he comes out. Some people, we have this issue, ashtar, they can't, their attention span is very, very short. They have to do something, right? How long have you been sitting here? How many times have you got up? 0. See, mashallah. There he is. There's the culprit. Attention, having a good attention span is very, very important. And sometimes when you're having a conversation with someone, it's also common etiquette and respectful for you to show them that you're giving them the attention. Sometimes when, for example, you're talking to someone and they start yawning and stretching and making noises, you say to them like, come on, man, I'm talking to you. Or you're having a conversation and then they flip out their phone and then they start doing this or they do that. Attention span in general in today's society has become very, very low. And this is something that we have to pay more focus on and we have to be more attentive to, especially in our social interaction that we have and the adab, the mannerism of how we interact with other people, especially if they are our elders, our parents. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Why are you looking around? Why are you looking away? And these kind of things. Anyway, كَأَنَّ عَلَى رُؤُوسِهِمُ الطَّيْرِ. They are still, they have absolute silence, a state of intense focus. This is what the first description that Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam says. قَدْ فَنِيَتْ أَزْوَادُهُمْ. Their zad, their provisions have come to become very, very low. Zad means provisions, their supplies, which means they're so ascetic, they're so zuhad, they don't care about any of these things. They have annihilated themselves in what it is and in their concern about clothes and about food and about anything else. قَدْ فَنِيَتْ أَزْوَادُهُمْ وَخَلُقَتْ ثِيَابُهُمْ. خَلُقَتْ ثِيَابُهُمْ basically means that their clothes have become so weary and so non-usable with patches everywhere and it's being used so much, again, as a sign of their zuhud, as a sign of their them wanting to be more focused on ukhrawi things rather than on dunyawi things. قَدْ أَثَّرَ السُّجُودُ بِجِبَاهِهِمْ. There are signs of prostration in their foreheads because of how much they do sujood. They have signs on their foreheads, as the Quran also describes. لُيُوثٌ بِالنَّهَارِ. Luyuth is plural to layth, and layth is another name for a lion, for Asad. The difference between layth and Asad is layth is more wild, more active. One of the names of Imam Ali alayhi salam is also layth, more active. And that means that during the day, they are like active lions. Luyuthun bin nahari, ruhbanun bil-layl. But at night, they're like monks. They are like monks because they don't do anything, they don't engage with anyone. All they do is worship. رهبان بالليل كأن قلوبهم زبر الحديد. Their hearts are as if they are blocks of iron. Again, zubur al-hadid is an expression in how they are so strong in their attention when it comes to their connection with their religion. يُعْطَى, this is very interesting as well. يُعْطَى لِلْرَجُلِ مِنْهُمْ يُعْطَى الرَّجُلُ مِنْهُمْ قُوَّةَ 40 رَجُلٍ. With the companions of Imam al-Mahdi, each man will be given the strength and power of 40 men. لا يقتل أحدا منهم إلا كافرا أو منافق إلا كافر أو منافق. And the only people that they will end up killing is the rejecter and the hypocrites. وقد وصفهم الله تعالى بالتوسم في كتابه العزيز. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described them with al-tawassum in the verse إن في ذلك لآيات للمتوسمين. Here we can understand from the description of birds being perched on their heads all the way to the signs of them being like monks in the nighttime with ibadah, whereas lions during the day. It's all about balance for the true believer. The true believer cannot be disengaged. The true believer cannot be someone who just does ibadah all day and all night. The true believer cannot be someone who is passive and not involved in social affairs and in society. The true believer is also someone who makes sure that they have fair balance in their ibadah and their attention to acts of worship as well. In the society that we live in, it's very easy for us to lose track of our attention to ibadah. The element of flavoring our day with dhikrullah and with a little bit more acts of worship is really going to take us way ahead more than what we expect. You cannot allow yourself to be content only with the 5 daily prayers. And even with those 5 daily prayers, you pray them so quickly, you don't even recollect what it is that you said, because you just want to get it over with. What about improving your ibadah with adding nafilas? You don't need to add all of the nafilas during the day and during the night. No, you don't need to be doing salatul layl. No, but at least be doing something that you can happily say, Alhamdulillah, I am going step by step in increasing my acts of worship and my ibadah, and it's all knowingly meaningful for me as well. It's not just me fulfilling certain rituals, but I am actively involved in them as well. This is very, very important for us as believers. And if we want to be among the ashab, yes, we should be reciting dua al-ahd. We should be reciting that as much as possible. Yes, we should be doing dua that we become among those who serve our Imam with his reappearance, and we be resurrected with him, for him as well. At the same time, what are we doing to work towards that? If we haven't been inspired by Imam Hussain to make those changes in our lives, then what is it that we are heading towards? There's another description, there's another 2 more descriptions on the similarities between the Imam Hussain uprising and the Imam Mahdi uprising. These two are going to be a little bit longer, so I will leave it for tomorrow night, inshallah, and explain as much as I can to make sure that we cover this topic enough for us to be happy and satisfied that we were able to increase in our understanding, in our knowledge, and most importantly, in reminding ourselves of our connection to Ahlul Bayt and to Imam Hussain. Otherwise, it's pointless for us to go through these rituals without some type of inner reform ourselves. The objective and goal of Imam Hussain is reform. How much reform have you made? How much reform have you gone through? What is your understanding of changing within yourself as well? We have only 2 more nights, tonight and tomorrow night, and then we will be commemorating Ashura Day. We know that in these sacred nights, in these holy nights, what we anticipate to achieve is that connection with Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. When we remember the masa'ib of Ahlul Bayt, when we remember the tragedies, when we look at what occurred, what befell upon each of the members, we can understand that there's something way deeper than what we just hear in the words, and that is the inspiration that we achieve. When you shed your tears and you remember Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, and you remember Ali al-Akbar, and you remember the young infant children that were martyred, and then you say to yourself when you leave this place, I feel better, I feel relieved, I feel spiritually content, I feel less stress, I feel less anxious, less anxiety. And this is what it's all about for me and for you. Our way of dealing with pressure and depression and anxiety is turning to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And also at the same time, we compare ourselves with what's happened with all of these masa'ib that we are facing also and listening to and experiencing, where we say to ourselves that everything becomes so easy for us when we compare it to the musibah of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi tahirin.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Tonight is the 9th night of Muharram. Come with me on a journey back in time. Let's go back 1400 years. Tonight we remember the eldest son of Aba Abdullah. Tonight is the night of Ali al-Akbar. Tonight we remember a man who made such a lasting impact on the battlefield that day that his name resonates in every corner of the world. Ali al-Akbar, Ali al-Akbar, the beloved son of Imam Hussain. His very presence on that day for Aba Abdullah reminded him of the virtues of his noble lineage. As Ali al-Akbar embodied the grace and courage of his grandfather, Amir al-Mu'mineen, and the compassion and piety of his father, Imam Hussain. But there was something else about Ali al-Akbar that made Aba Abdullah look towards him in admiration and in peace. He looked so much like his holy grandfather, Every time he used to miss the Holy Prophet, Aba Abdullah would look towards his eldest son. Tonight is also the night for our mothers to do dua for their eldest sons. Tonight is the night where our fathers look towards their eldest sons with hope, with pride. As we reflect on Ali al-Akbar, I ask all the mothers to imagine how Layla feels when she remembers the sacrifice of her beloved son, the shining moon of her life. So lower your head, shed your tears, as tonight it is a difficult night. In the blistering heat of Karbala, Ali al-Akbar's youth and beauty were overshadowed only by his profound sense of duty and love for his father. Allow me to set the scene. Ali al-Akbar, he had a beautiful relationship with his father. Whenever Hussein needed something, it was Ali al-Akbar who would be there to help. They would sit for long periods of time, talking late into the night. This was the son of Aba Abdullah. Let us go towards the day of Ashura. The time had come for Ali al-Akbar to go and fight and defend the religion, to defend his father as he is about to mount his horse. The father and son share an emotional exchange. Imagine the scene. No father should ever have to go through what our Aba Abdullah did on the day of Ashura. I ask you, Hussein, how hard was it? How hard was it to say your final farewell to your Akbar after a long embrace with his son? Some narrations tell us that in this moment, Imam Hussain, the father of Ali, he fainted. Ya Allah, just put yourself in the situation and imagine how our Imam is feeling in this moment. Aba Abdullah was so hurt by this final farewell. Ali al-Akbar mounts his horse and prepares to go out when all of a sudden he hears the words, Ali, my son, Ali al-Akbar, come back to me. Ali Akbar turns around and what does he see? How can a Maqatil describe this scene? To describe the scene of a father requesting his son to come back one final time. The poets say, before the final farewell, Imam Hussain looked young, he looked strong. But after this, it was as if he had become old. Ya Allah. Akbar returns to his father and asks, "Oh father, what is it? You have already said your final farewell to me." Listen to the words of Imam Hussain. "Oh my son Akbar, you do not know how hard it is for me to let you go." They embraced one final time. Then Aba Abdullah whispers in his ear, Go and say goodbye to your auntie Zainab and to your beloved mother." The final embrace of Layla and Akbar. This seems to go on forever. Layla doesn't want to let go, but it is a testament to all the mothers of the Shahada. Despite Akbar being the moon of her heart, Layla showed us true sacrifice and loyalty towards our Imam. As Akbar left, her heart, it thinks. The chest becomes heavy, and her heart, it beats faster and faster at the realization that she was never going to see her son again. Now Layla's heart started to break. Yet she stayed steadfast. To all the mothers and ladies, go to Layla and give her the strength to go through these moments. When Ali al-Akbar goes out onto the battlefield, he is approached by thousands of soldiers. But he stands in front of them and he says the most beautiful words of poetry. Let us go and hear these words. What does he say? I am Ali, the son of Hussain, who is the son of Ali. I am Ali, the son of Hussain, who is the son of Ali. Us in the house of Allah are closest to the Nabi. I will strike you with a spear until I finish you. I will strike you with a sword, defending my father. A strike that from one side is of Alawi and from the other side it is Hashimi. Wallah, wallahi, a son of adultery would never lead over me. After uttering these mesmerizing words, he fought the enemy valiantly. Even though the heat of Karbala was getting to him, he continued forward. I ask all those mothers, when your eldest son is in difficulty, how hard is it for you to bear? Just imagine Layla looking towards Akbar in the middle of the battlefield. Allahu Akbar. She was in the tents looking towards Aba Abdullah. Every time Aba Abdullah smiled towards the battlefield, she knew that Akbar was okay. But whenever Hussein lowered towards the ground, she knew that he was in trouble. All of a sudden, Aba Abdullah tells Layla that Akbar is in trouble and that the enemy has surrounded him. Imagine the scene. A dua of a desperate mother is never rejected by Allah. In that moment, Layla pours her heart out and lets all of her emotions out. This truly breaks the heart. She raises her hands towards the skies and says, "Oh my Lord, you returned Yusuf back to Yaqub, and you returned Ismail back to Hajar. Ya Allah, return my Ali back to me." All of a sudden, Akbar is able to return back to her. When Akbar returns, he embraces his mother. Ya Allah, you fulfill the dua of Layla. Tonight, may our mothers' hajat for their sons be fulfilled. After embracing his mother, he looks towards his father and then towards his mother. He again looks into the eyes of Aba Abdullah. Aba Abdullah, he knows that his son is in difficulty, so he asks, "Oh my Akbar, what is the matter?" Akbar says, "Oh father, are you proud of me?" Imam Hussain says, "Of course I am." What Akbar says next breaks the heart. He says, "Baba, Baba, father, oh father, I am so thirsty. The thirst, it is killing me. Just one drop of water." What can the Imam do in this situation? Give patience to our Imam. Aba Abdullah places his tongue in Akbar's mouth. The narration that follows, it is truly heartbreaking. Listen to these next words. Akbar all of a sudden yells out, "Baba, Baba, oh father, your tongue, it is drier than mine." The poets say the water stopped on the seventh. But when did the water stop for Aba Abdullah? When Ali al-Akbar goes out, Layla continues to look at the expressions of Aba Abdullah from her tent. All of a sudden, Abu Abdullah, he falls to the ground. Akbar, he had fallen from his horse. He calls out, Assalamu alayka ya Abu Abdullah. Imam Hussain races towards the battlefield. Just imagine what a father would be feeling in this moment. How would Imam Hussain be feeling when our Imam goes towards the battlefield to get to his Akbar? He goes, listen to these words. He goes the wrong direction. Ya Allah. Sukaina yells to her father, Baba, your Akbar, he is on the other side. The poets say, how do you blame Hussein when he has lost his direction? His Ali al-Akbar has fallen. When Imam Hussein gets to Akbar, he sits beside him. May your father never be in the same situation. When Abu Abdullah sees Akbar, he sees him smiling, and then he sees him crying. Ali, tell me one thing. Why do you smile and why do you cry then? Just listen to the reply. Father, oh father, I smile because I see my grandfather coming towards me with open arms. But listen to this response. And I cry because I see my grandmother Zahara. She is in front of me and she is crying, Baba, have patience, because every tear you shed, she slaps her cheeks in pain. Every tear you shed, she slaps her cheeks in pain. Akbar, I ask you one thing. What is going to happen to Sayyidah Fatima when she sees shimmer on top of Abu Abdullah? Brothers and sisters, stay with me for one more moment. Take yourself to Karbala. Just before Sham Gariba, all the bodies were lying on the ground of Imam Hussein's army. They had already killed our Imam and everybody else. But Umar ibn Sa'd commands his soldiers to go and sharpen the hooves of the horses. You all know where I'm going with this. They sharpened the hooves, and Umar ibn Sa'd turned to the horse riders. Get ready, and I want you to trample on the bodies of the companions of Hussein. But as each companion's name came up, someone comes forward to stop the trampling of the body. Hur, whose tribe came forward from the army and said, we will not let you desecrate the body of Hur. Habib's tribe comes forward to stop the horses. Muslim ibn Awsaj's tribe comes forward and stops the horses. So Umar ibn Sa'd tells the riders to trample on the family members of Hussein, the Banu Hashim. He points towards Al-Qasim, who were Banu Fazara, who were on the other side of Yazid's army. They come forward and stop the horses, saying that you have already killed our son. You cannot trample on his body. Then Umar ibn Sa'd pointed towards Ali al-Akbar. But relatives from his mother's side come forward and stop the horses. Then he turned around and said, trample on the body of Abu Fazl al-Abbas. But al-Baneen, who was related to Shimr, he comes forward to stop the horses. Then Umar ibn Sa'd turns. He turns to Abu Abdullah. He yells out, is there anyone who will come forward to stop the horses? Stop the horses of trampling on Hussein? Ya Allah, the holy body of Abu Abdullah, the grandson of the Holy Prophet. No one comes forward. Forgive me, Sayyidah Fatima, for these next words. The horses come forward and they start to dig their sharp hooves into the chest of Abu Abdullah. that same chest that Sukaina lay on, that same chest that the Holy Prophet used to embrace, Ya Hussein.
Ya Hussein, Hussein, Ya Hussein, 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 Hussein, Ya Hussein. हुसैन तेरे लहू की खुशबू, हुसैन तेरे लहू की खुशबू फलक के दामन से आ रही है, फलक के दामन से आ रही है। ये खून नाहक छुपेगा क्यों कर, ये खून नाहक छुपेगा क्यों कर, जिससे ये दुनिया छुपा रही है। हुसैन तेरे लहू की खुशबू, हुसैन तेरे लहू की खुशबू फलक के दामन से आ रही है, फलक के दामन से आ रही। हुसैन लाशा जवा का लेकर, हुसैन लाशा जवा का लेकर चले हैं मकतल से सूए खैमा, चले हैं मकतल से सूए खैमा। मगर ज़लीफ़ी कदम कदम पर, मगर ज़लीफ़ी कदम कदम पर उठा रही है, बिता रही है। हुसैन तेरे लहू की खुशबू, हुसैन तेरे लहू की खुशबू फलक के दामन ही है, फलक के दामन से आ रही है। ये कौन है जिसके गुफ्तगू में, ये कौन है जिसके गुफ्तगू में अली का लहजा झलक रहा है, अली का लहजा झलक रहा है। ये कौन है जिसके वलवलों में, ये कौन है जिसके वलवलों में हुसैनियत जगमगा रही है। हुसैन तेरे लहू की खुशबू, हुसैन तेरे लहू की खुशबू फलक के दामन से आ रही है, फलक के दामन आ रही है। बरहना सर है अली की बेटी, बरहना सर है अली की बेटी, मगर वही अज़मत मोहम्मद, मगर वही अज़मत मोहम्मद। वो जिसकी खातिर बरा हुआ घर, वो जिसकी खातिर बरा हुआ घर लुटा लुटा के करबल से आ रही है। हुसैन तेरे लहू की खुशबू, हुसैन तेरे लहू की खुशबू फलक के दामन से आ रही है, फलक के दामन से आ रही है। या हुसैन, या हुसैन।
Ali, Ali Akbar, Ali, 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 Ali Akbar, Ali, Ali, image of the prophets, Ali, Ali, image of the prophets, Ali, 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 Ali Akbar, Ali, 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 Ali Akbar, Ali, Ali, image of the prophets, Ali, Ali, image of the prophets, Ali, Ali, age on Oh Ali Akbar, like your grandfather, so generous, so kind and faithful, patient and truthful, and pious. O son of Hussain, you always showed the best manners, manners of the Prophet Ali, Ali, manners of the Prophet Ali, Ali, vision of the Prophet Ali, Ali, vision of the Prophet Ali, 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 Akbar, Ali, 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 Akbar, Ali, Ali, image of the Prophet Ali, Ali, image. It's Ali, Ali, hey John, as you stood to recite the adhan for the final time, cries were heard as they saw the Nabi for the final time. Oh my son, let me say goodbye for the final time. Caller of prayer, Ali, Ali, caller of prayer, Ali, Ali, Allahu Akbar, Ali, Ali, Allahu Akbar, Ali, 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 Ali Akbar, Ali, 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 Ali Akbar, Ali, Ali, image of the Prophet Ali, Ali, image of the Ali, Ali, hey John, when you left, oh step by step, your father followed. Oh Ali Akbar, please let me see your face once more. How can I say goodbye to the son that I adore? Smile of the Prophet Ali, Ali, smile of the Prophet Ali, Ali, sight of your father Ali, Ali, sight of your father Ali, 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 Ali Akbar, Ali, 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 Ali Akbar, Ali, Ali, image of the Prophet Ali, Ali, image of the Prophet Ali, Ali, hey John, as you fell, one hand on your chest and one hand raised, Salamun alaykum, oh Father, my life I gave. Was there a prince of Hashimis like you so brave? Grandson of Haydar Ali, Ali, grandson of Haydar Ali, Ali, brave son of Hussain Ali, Ali, brave son of Hussain Ali, 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 Ali Akbar, Ali, Ali Akbar, Ali, Ali, image of the Prophet Ali, Ali, image of the Prophet Ali, Ali, hey John, oh Ali Akbar, when you fell in that final fight, oh Ali Akbar, look at your father's lost his sight. Oh Ali Akbar, look at your mother, how she cries. Yusuf Layla Ali, Ali, Yusuf Layla Ali, Ali, Allahu Akbar Ali, Ali, Allahu Akbar Ali, 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 Ali Akbar Ali, 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 Ali Akbar Ali, Ali, image of the Prophet Ali, Ali, image of the Prophet Ali, Ali, hey John, Ya Hussain.
कहती थी ये माँ खूं भरी मैयत से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली अकबर, हाय हाय अली अकबर, हाय हाय अली अकबर, हाय हाय अली अकबर। एवरीवन, हाय हाय अली अकबर, हाय हाय अली अकबर, हाय हाय अली अकबर। अरमान था पहनाऊंगी पोशाक शहानी, अफसोस के रास आई न तुझको ये जवानी, कैसा था मुकद्दर, हाय हाय अली अकबर, हाय हाय अकबर, हाय हाय अली अकबर। माँ तेरी जुदाई में भला कैसे जिएगी, मर जाएगी सुगरा जो खबर तेरी सुनेगी, अब क्या करूं दिलबर, हाय हाय अली अकबर, हाय हाय। पहले तो एक आवाज पे उठ जाते थे बेटा, पहले तो एक आवाज पे उठ जाते थे बेटा, अब इतनी सदाओं पे भी पहलू नहीं बदला, क्या हो गया दिलबर, हाय हाय अली अकबर, हाय हाय अली अकबर। तुम हिचकियाँ ले लेके जो दम तोड़ रहे हो, तुम हिचकियाँ ले लेकर जो दम तोड़ रहे हो, मुँह से हमेशा के लिए मोड़ रहे हो, क्यों रूठे हो दिलबर, हाय हाय अली, हाय हाय पर। जब कोई जवान लाश नजर आती है महशर, जब कोई जवान लाश नजर आती है महशर, एक याद सुए करबो बला जाती है महशर, दिल रोता है कहकर, हाय हाय अली अकबर, हाय हाय अली अकबर। कहती थी ये माँ खूं भरी मैयत से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली अकबर, हाय हाय अली अकबर। या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन,
या हुसैन, या हुसैन, मेरा सहर अवाला अकबर, मेरा सहर अवाला अकबर, मेरा सहर अवाला अकबर, मेरा सहर अवाला अकबर। जख्म दिल के दिखाऊं मैं कैसे, जख्म दिल के दिखाऊं मैं कैसे, तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं कैसे अकबर, मेरा सहर अवाला अकबर, अकबर, मेरा सहर अवाला अकबर।
लाश अकबर पे शाह जब पहुँचे दिल को हाथों से थाम कर बोले तेरी फुरकत ने ए अली अकबर आग दिल में मेरे लगा दी है आग दिल की बुझाऊं मैं कैसे आग दिल की बुझाऊं मैं कैसे तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं कैसे अकबर मेरा शहर वाला अकबर अकबर मेरा शहर वाला तू है करियल जवान ए बेटा बाप तेरा ज़ईफ है कितना नूर आँखों का हो गया रुखसात मुझको आता नहीं नजर खैमा लेके खैमों में जाऊं मैं कैसे लेके खैमों में जाऊं मैं कैसे तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं अकबर मेरा शहर वाला अकबर अकबर वाला अकबर जिसने 18 साल पाला था कैसे देखे कि वो तेरा लाशा तेरी शादी का था जिसे अरमान कैसे झेले गी वो तेरा सदमा तेरी माँ को बताऊं मैं कैसे तेरी माँ को बताऊं मैं कैसे तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं कैसे अकबर मेरा शहर वाला अकबर अकबर मेरा शहर वाला अकबर देख आया है कासते सुगना राह तकती है वो दुखी बहना तुझको बीमार ने बुलाया है वादा सुगना का क्यों बुला डाला गम ये दिल से लगाऊं मैं कैसे गम ये दिल से लगाऊं मैं कैसे तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं कैसे अकबर मेरा शहर वाला अकबर अकबर मेरा शहर वाला अकबर भाई बहनों का है अजब रिश्ता जिसका सानी कहीं नहीं मिलता रोके सुगरा ने ये लिखा अकबर एक दुखिया की लाज रख लेना मर गया तू बताऊं मैं कैसे मर गया तू बताऊं मैं कैसे तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं कैसे अकबर मेरा शहर वाला अकबर 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 लुत्फ जीने में अब कहाँ अकबर दिल से उठती है ये फुगा अकबर सुबह आशूर दी थी जो तूने खून रुलाए कि वो अजान अकबर तेरी सूरत भुलाऊं मैं कैसे तेरी सूरत भुलाऊं मैं कैसे तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं कैसे अकबर मेरा शहर वाला अकबर अकबर मेरा शहर वाला अकबर जब्त गम है मोहाल ए बेटा देखूं कैसे ये जख्म सीने का मैं तो परदेस में अकेला हूँ देख कर जख्म क्या करूं बतला इस पे मरहम लगाऊं मैं कैसे इस पे मरहम लगाऊं मैं कैसे तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं कैसे अकबर मेरा शहर वाला अकबर अकबर मेरा शहर वाला अकबर या हुसैन या अबा अब्दुल्लाह हुसैन या अबा अब्दुल्लाह हुसैन या अबा अब्दुल्लाह हुसैन Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ali, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein. We cry for Karbala, Ya Abdullah. Our hearts are torn in pain. We walk upon your way. Your light will never fade. You stood for truth, I learned. You rose against the throne. You gave your life for faith. You broke the chains of hate. Ali Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein. Ya Hussein Shah Karbala, Ya Hussein Shah Karbala, Dil ma dar gham o bala, Labbaik Ya Hussein Din, Rahe to noor yaqeen. We cry for you at night. Our tears will never take flight. Your grief lives in our soul. You make the broken whole. Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein. اشک ما در شب غم دل ما پر از علم مظلوم کربلا تویی نور حق تو راهنمایی We keep your path alive through every tear we strive. Your light will guide us on till every fear is gone. Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein. तेरे गम में रोए हम अब्दुल्ला दिल भी है जख्मी सनम तेरा पैगाम वफा जिंदा रहे हर सदा या अब्दुल्ला हुसैन अब्दुल्ला या अब्दुल्ला हुसैन Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya Abdullah Hussein, Ya 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 Hussein, صلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
زيارة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء. السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان. الأمان الأمان. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توأة وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صلوا